Alright guys, hey, I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to show you all how to uh, put a hat on and remove it. So I made my own animation right here in an iClone, and I just made it real quick. I didn't try to polish it or anything. This is actually the first animation I've made in iClone since I bought it. Uh, so it didn't turn out too bad. So I recommend iClone. Just know that iClone 8 comes out this spring, so if you plan on getting it, I would wait until iClone 8 comes out because you will not get an upgrade from iClone 7 to iClone 8 for free. So disclosure here, uh, this is for demonstration purposes and for learning purposes. This isn't a proper tutorial or guide on animations and all of that, and setting up interactables. So this is just for learning purposes, so that y'all can kind of get a handle on how you do stuff like this. Uh, so first off, I'm assuming you already know how to import your character. If you don't, you should probably go look that up. Uh, I'm not going to take up too much time over the little small details. So I've already imported my cowboy hat and my character, and I made the animations and I imported my animations. So let's get started. So first off, if you don't have the third person character, go to add import under the content browser and then go to add feature or content. It's like third person, press add to project. So after you've done that, you should have this mannequin folder. Go to the mannequin folder, go to the character, go to the mesh, and then go to the skeletal mesh on the far right, or far left, I mean. It's the one with the purple line underneath it. So open that up. You can open up the female one if you have a female character. But select skeleton up in the upper right. And then come over here. It should already say humanoid. Just press auto map, and some of these should change. I've already done it, so it's not going to change for me. Exit out of that after you're done with it. Go to your character that you made or that you imported and open it up. And what we're going to do here is we're going to open up the skeleton just like we did before. Select humanoid rig, auto map. It should already have the humanoid rig selected. You just have to press auto map. Do not forget to do that. Your character does have to be in the default character pose right here. Also, it looks like I don't know what's up with that. That shouldn't be there. I did this just to make sure everything worked properly, and then I undid everything so we could start from scratch. So for whatever reason, it's still showing that. It's probably just needs to be exited out and reopened. So anyway, so after you've gone to the cowboy and you've went to the skeleton mesh, you've went to Retarget Manager. If you don't have Retarget Manager, go to Window again and go to Retarget Manager. It'll show up. So, and like I said, just press auto map. After you're done with that, you can come back to the content browser and go to animations, and right here under third person Anim BP, you're going to right click and retarget, and you're going to press that. You're going to press that. Go to change. And then go to your character folder, right click new folder and type in animations and then select it. And if your character isn't showing up in the target screen, then something went wrong and you should go back and try again. And then after you've done all that, press retarget. It'll put all these animations right here in this folder. What we're going to do first is I've already replaced my animations or their animations with my own animations. So to do that, you just open up the idle run 2D blend space 1D, and you're going to select your motions, and let's make this a little bigger so you can see it. So over here in your under blend space in your assets detail, you're going to have three animations. The top one will be idle, the second one down will be your walk, and the last one will be your run. So you'll select your idle, press the back button, select walk, press the back button, and then select your run and press the back button. And that's all you have to do for that. Save and close. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set up the hat. So first off, we're going to go to the ThirdPerson BP right here folder, and then go to blueprints, then open up the third-person character blueprint. Then under mesh, select mesh, press the backspace on there, or after you've selected your player character, select your player character, and then press the back button, or you can go right here and you can select them from the drop down list. Then go to your animations folder where you stored that animation that you retargeted, select the animation blueprint, go back, press the back arrow, and actually you should rename this to something like my player Anim BP. That way when you go to the drop down list, you'll see it says my player Anim BP, and it doesn't show two third-person Anim BPs, which would really confuse you. After you've done that, you're going to add a component, add static mesh, rename this to hat so you can easily identify it later. Then under here, you're going to find your hat, you're going to add it, and then what we have to do is we have to go back to our player character, open up his skeletal mesh, and scroll down through here until you see head, add a socket, that'll be his head socket. You can rename it something else like let's see, hat socket maybe, and then right click and add preview, go to cowboy mesh, and then what you're going to do, and also I already did this, but you can turn your camera speed down to 2 and then use your mouse wheel to scroll it up and speed it down, and that's what I'd normally do. So select your hat socket and press E to go into rotation mode. W goes into move mode, E goes into rotation mode, and R goes into scale mode. So press E to go into rotate mode and rotate it 90 degrees. Press W to go into move mode and then move it up approximately where you think it should be. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to preview, you're going to select your remove hat motion, and then you're going to stop it, and you're going to go to the point at which he grabs it. I'm assuming you probably know that because you made the mesh, and you'll see that it's offset, so we got to reposition this. Alright, now that we have that positioned, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the hand at which he grabs it, and we're going to add a socket there as well. Oh, I thought I added a socket. Okay, there we go. We're just going to leave that hand R socket. And we're going to move this up, and also you can change this to world space, from world space to local space and back and so forth. And what you're going to do is you're just going to try to center it around where the hat is. You won't be able to get it perfectly centered, but then what we're going to do is we're going to right click on it and preview and do the same thing, and we're going to rotate it again. And I have changed my, oh no I didn't, not yet. Okay, we'll do that here in a second. Actually, for this you might want to go back to local. And make sure, oh, I have it turned around backwards. Okay. So come up here to angle, turn it down to the lowest one, 2.812, just by clicking on the number and changing it. And then try to line those up, and then try to get that lined up, and then move it down. And as you can see, it's just a bit off. So we're going to turn angle snapping off. That should be good. We're not going to nitpick on this too much. We just want to approximately and that should be good. Okay. So now you can play it, you'll see. So now over here in your third person character, which again is under third person BP, blueprints, third person character, you're going to select the hat mesh that you added to it, and under the parent socket you're going to add this to the hat socket. You're going to set it to the hat socket, go to viewport to make sure it's right. You can compile, save it. Now go back to your animations, the one that you made. The cowboy remove hat motion is what mine is named, and right click on it and go to create Anim Montage. Open up the Anim Montage, and I have already done this, but I'll go ahead and delete it. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pause it down here, right here where it says pause, right beside the record button. And you can also press right here and type in the frame at which he begins to take off the hat. And then under notify, follow this little one over here and right click right there on the line, go to add new notify, I got tongue tied there, and go to remove hat. Now I already actually changed this, let me change it back for a second. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your animations where your Anim BP is. You're going to open it up, and already I actually added one right here, but over here on the side under Anim Slot Manager, go to add slot and name it interactions or remove hat or whatever you want to name it. And then go back to your Anim Montage, or save it first, compile and save after you, or press save right here after you've done that, and then come back over here And right here under montage, default group, default slot, you're going to select slot. You're going to go to slot name, and you're going to go to that slot that you created, default group interactions. And he'll probably go into some weird pose. Just save it. It's fine. It does that. It's some kind of bug or something. If you reopen it again, it'll go back to normal. So don't freak out if it looks like it broke it, because it didn't. So the reason why we're making, and I should have explained this actually. Let me go ahead and explain that. So the reason why we're making an AnimNotify. AnimNotifies are their purpose is to notify you or your animation blueprint when an event takes place. In this case, at this point of the animation, his hand moves up here. So this is the point at which we want to switch his hat slot to the hand slot. And so the hat will follow his hand as he's grabbing it. And then we'll do the reverse for when we're putting it back, for when we put it back on. Now, the reason why we created our own default group right here, slot name, interactions, that's for animation blending. So I'll try to explain everything as best as I can. I kind of wasn't doing that, and I apologize for that. So let's go ahead and go on. So let's go back to our animation blueprint. And in here, if you're not seeing the default attached to the output pose like it is here, then just double click Anim Graph and it'll bring you here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drag this off, and you're going to type in pose and select new save catch pose. New save catched pose. Select the new saved catch pose and name it main pose. And then with it selected, press Ctrl W 2 times to duplicate it. Oh, my bad. I'm tripping. Okay. Right click and type in main pose. You'll see use catched pose, main pose. Now you're going to duplicate this once. And then off the first one, you're going to type in blend, let's see, layered blend per bone. That's the one you want. And what this is basically going to do is it's just going to blend your Anim. What we're going to set up is going to allow you to blend your Anim montages that you play from your player blueprint right here. When you play one from your player blueprint and then a montage, it's your Anim blueprint is going to blend that with the currently playing one, so it doesn't just snap from one pose to another. So select your layered blend per bone, and the first one we want it to be blending with the root. So under layer setup, expand all these and then press that plus button right here to get this. Expand the 0 right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our character asset, and we're going to find the root, and we're going to right click on it and copy selected bone names right there at the top. And then we're going to select the bone name, none, and we're going to right click and paste that name. And we're going to put the blend depth at 1. So what this is a filter. This is telling it where it wants to start blending it at. and this is how far up the chain we want to blend. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on all of this because that's not what this is about. If you want some good animation tutorials, you should look up Pismatica on YouTube. He's got some really great animation videos. So after you've done that, we're going to create another layered blend off of this one. Layered blend per bone. Off of this one, we're let's say go back to your cowboy or your whatever your character is. Right click on your spine 1 bone. We're just going to copy that name. You can move up higher if you need to, if you feel like maybe it's not blending well enough, the upper body or whatever. And we're going to paste that in there, and we're just going to set this blend depth to about 4. So it's going to go up about 4 bones from spine 1. So it'll cover his torso. Now duplicate this one more time, and off of this one we're going to select default slot. And just look up Pismatica's layered blend per bone tutorial, and it'll explain basically everything I'm showing you here now. I'm not exactly sure where I learned this method at, to be honest with you, but let's see. So select the slot, default slot, and duplicate it. And between these two layered blends, we're going to select this slot and go to slot name. We're going to change this to interactions. And we're going to plug that one into the blend poses 0, and this one is going to be the source. And then that should be good for the blend. So compile and save it. Go to event graph. Over here we're going to right click and go to, just type in begin, and up here at the top, event blueprint begin play. Select that. We're going to make a we're going to say try get pawn owner. This is a safe way to try to get the controlling pawn. And then off of here, drag out and cast to third person character. And then off of this one, we're going to promote this to variable. I'm just going to call it player ref. Actually, I forgot to remove that the last time I did that, so I am going to just drag this one out and set it. That's going to be our player reference for when we set up our notify. So you remember we set up this remove hat notify. So we're going to call that, we're going to handle that remove hat and event AnimNotify remove hat. So just right click here and type in the event name, remove hat, and select remove AnimNotify, event AnimNotify remove hat. This is what we're going to use to control what happens when that, and that was why we set that up, and why we set up the hand socket as well. So now we're going to get our player reference. We're going to get our mesh, get mesh, and we're going to get hat, and scroll down to the very bottom, get hat. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say attach component to component. Right here, attach component to component. We're going to duplicate that And off of here, we're going to drag off of here and type in flip flop. And connect the first one to the top one and the second one to the bottom one. The parent is the mesh. So actually rearrange these. The hat is the target and the parent is the mesh. So we're going to set this hat to be attached to the mesh go back to your skeletal mesh and scroll down here to our hand socket, right click it and copy selected, just select it, press F2 and then press Ctrl C. Now go back to your Anim blueprint and under socket name paste it. Now this is going to attach the hat to the hand right socket of the mesh. And now we have to reverse it. So select the hat socket and do the same thing. Press F2, Control C, and come back over here and Control V at the bottom one. Make sure to plug the hat into the target and the mesh into the parent. So after the second time this event fires, so the first time this event fires, it's going to assign the hat to the hand right socket of the right hand of the mesh. And the second time this fires, it's going to assign it back to the hat on the head. And it's just going to flip-flop back and forth, so you can remove it and put it back on, remove it and put it back on. Now that we have that, let's see. We have to play the Anim montage. So select your mesh, drag it out into the viewport or into the event graph. Off this, type get anim instance and select it, get anim instance. Off of this, type play montage or montage play. Yeah, montage play. And select that to pressed. If you haven't set up your key for it, you just right click and type in keyboard and you can just scroll through here and select a key. Now go back over here and find your animation montage, the animation montage, not the animation. Select it, go back here and press the back button, or you can just press the drop down list and select it from here. If you only have one, it'll be faster just to do it that way. Now we can remove the hat and put it back on. And that's pretty much it. Now if you want to learn how to blend, well, if you have a problem like this, like what I'm getting here, where the feet are just kind of sliding, that's an animation problem. You basically need to make sure that your idle animation is that his feet are in the same position. If they're not, then it'll do that, it'll slide. If you want to do upper body, as you can see, I'm not controlling that. I don't have it set up so that if he's moving, then it won't then he won't do that. But if y'all want me to do a video on how to fix this bug, then I'll do that maybe tomorrow when I have time. But I think that's it for the day. I can also show y'all how to make it so that he while he's running, he'll take off his hat. So it'll only play the upper part of that animation when he's running. So just let me know.